Good morning. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change, just live recorded. And what the F is going on with Binance? This is a mess. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. We're going to watch a whole bunch of stuff about Binance this morning. A bunch of different news articles, a bunch of different news outlets. We're going to hear from Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong is going to talk on it. The, I guess, apparent new CEO of Binance is going to speak on it a little bit. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? Let me know what you feel about Binance in the chat. I want to know if you guys are using it, actually. You know what? I'll put a poll in the chat once we get into the videos and stuff, just to see if you guys are on it. I recommend, though, just before we get into this, you guys heavily consider taking your stuff out of Binance if you hold anything in there, just in case. We don't know what the hell's going on, but is Blackrock kind of behind the whole thing, behind the scenes? And that's actually a very good point that Mr. Austin over at Altcoin Daily made. So I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on that as well. Let's see who is in the chat, and then we'll get into this. Mr. Dan R, good to see you. Carl Coate, Andrew Masad, Patrick Murphy, good morning. Steven Cicero, Broskis. We have let's see, Miss Pocket Change is here in the chat. Good morning. Let me see, Leo Lustig, my man, all set. We have Duke, Anthony, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Mr. Danilio, is that how you say that? I'm sorry if I just butchered that. Let's see, Chris Hanley, Sloth Squash, good morning. Good morning. All right, let's get into this. Check out the market today. Actually, you know what's actually surprising here? Looking at this, I don't see anything out of the normal, really. Nothing is really tanking except for, I would say, just like BNB, right? Because we have Bitcoin 36,584. Ethereum's over 2,000 still, hasn't taken a dump, right? We have Dogecoin 7.5 cents, just about. XRP almost 60 cents. Solana's still almost 55 bucks. We have Kaspa. Where the hell is Kaspa? I saw it right here. Kaspa's still holding. Look at this, 13 cents still, and nothing's happened to it. Like, it's just, it's impressive, to be honest. I'm kind of happy about it. Render's still up. Like, literally everything's still up, even though there's some shitty news, right? Check out the crypto bubbles. It's on the week. Biggest earners on the week are in the green, as you can see. We have this Bitensor, which is up to, what is it at, 244 bucks at 67.1% on the week. Render's still up 40% on the week. Kaspa's up 33, almost 34%. Blur's up 25%. SNX, which is synthetics, is up 26.7. Check out the day. Biggest earner on the day is FTT, Binance's biggest competitor, which is kind of interesting. He's going to be seeing Mr. SBF in jail. What do you guys think? Are they going to be bunkmates? What do you guys think about that? Pyth right here, the Pyth network is up 22.3. We have Blur up 24.4. Man, everything's going good. And Kaspa, even Kaspa's up 4.8% today. Kind of interesting. All right, let's check out the fear and greed index. 62 on the greed, and it's kind of nice. It like leveled out the fear and greed index, right? Just a little bit. It's back into, at least in my opinion, neutral territory, which is pretty cool. All right, top 10 coins by coin market cap over on CoinGecko. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, XRP, USDC, Solana, Lido Staked Ether, Cardano, and Dogecoin. Those are the top 10 coins. We have Litecoin in 19th, Shiba in 20th, Bitcoin Cash in 21st, and just to check it out, we have Kaspa being sandwiched between Monero and Ethereum Classic in 28th. Pretty good. Kaspa's still doing good, guys. Still doing good. All right, let's get into the mining segment real quick. Oh, wrong one. There we go. We're going to check out the Wind Miner K9. Is still on top of the charts. Again, a daily output of 2,100 Kaspa at $264. Again, this is at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. We have the Ice River KS3 at $203. The KS3M at $150. This is per day yielding, right? KS2 is $50 just under per day, and then the Ice River KS1 is just under 25 bucks per day. KS0, which I'm still waiting for mine to get shipment confirmation, $5 per day, about 40 Kaspa, which is pretty cool. And then, yeah, the X16Q from Jingle Mining. If you guys are interested in them, I do have links in the description for Ice River and Jingle Mining. It is $4.96 a day. Mining ETC and ZIL. Looks like ETC is the top of the charts instead of ETH like it was. Let's see. The X4Q down here is another one I'm heating my house with. We got 4.5 octa per day on this unit, and it is $1.63. Good morning. Good morning, Next Level Tech. Good to see you, buddy. All right, if you guys want to look at anything specific, please just let me know in the chat. The X41U is actually probably losing me money per day at my 30 cents a kilowatt hour, but at 10 cents, you're making 68 cents a day. So not much, but it's helping with the heat in the house, so can't complain. And if you guys didn't do the modification on that, please go check out that video. Ice River, I just want to get over here and check out and see what's if anything's still actually like out, or if everything's still in stock. So the Ice River Pro's in stock, and the KS3M is in stock. The KS3 sold out, KS2 sold out, KS1 is also sold out. RIP. But I think that, my opinion, personal opinion, KS0 Pro is the best deal anyways. That's just, again, my opinion, be easier to sell in the bull run. All right, let's get into this. So as you guys know, I am I don't know, I've since the beginning, or for a while now, right, I have been not really for Binance. I felt like something was sketchy going on there, but again, I guess he's not really accused of doing sketchy things, kind of like FTX, right? Like, it's nothing to do with that. It's just that he didn't make people KYC, and he's kind of, you know, behind the curtain, I guess is the best way to put it, right? It's not really like commingling funds or anything along those lines. So he's not going to get like the rest of his life in jail like SBF, right? It's going to be like he's going to get fined. He could potentially see like 2 years or something, 18 months in jail. I don't even know, but whatever. Let's just get into these news articles and we'll see what's going on. So here we go with Yahoo Finance. We'll start it off with this, then we'll get into the actual DOJ speaking just a little bit, and then yeah, some other stuff. Again, Brian Armstrong from Coinbase and all that. So I do think there is more to this behind the scenes. Guys, that like button, appreciate you all. Let's do it.
Founder and CEO of Binance, CZ, to plead guilty to criminal charges. Binance agreeing to pay billions in fines as part of the settlement with the Department of Justice. And here with the details, we've got Yahoo Finance's Jennifer Schonberger. We have been long waiting for news like this. Give us the details.
Yes,
yes, real quick, Carl Coate, CZ did bring down FTX. You are correct.
Julie, the U.S. government slapping Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, with $4.4 billion fine and mandating that it exit the United States for violating U.S. anti-money laundering laws and sanctions. In charges being brought by the U.S. Treasury, Department of Justice, and Commodities Futures and Trading Commission, Binance violated the U.S. Bank Secrecy Act by failure to implement programs to prevent and report suspicious transactions with terrorists, including Hamas, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS, failure to report ransomware attackers and money launderers, and for matching trades between U.S. users and those in sanctioned jurisdictions like Iran and North Korea. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen saying in a statement, quote, Binance turned a blind eye to its legal obligations in the pursuit of profit. Its willful failures allowed money to flow to terrorists, cyber criminals, and child abusers through its platform. To ensure
all right. That, like, it is, God, he's a dinosaur for one. We're just gonna start with that. Two, that's some bullshit, okay? Because the US dollar is used for all the same bullshit. It's just easier to transfer crypto, and that's the entire point behind crypto. So I don't know, you guys gotta take those ignorant comments with a grain of salt. Like, that's some bullshit, to be honest.
That Binance complies with the full terms of settlement, Treasury will retain access to books, records, and systems of Binance for up to 5 years and monitor those. Binance CEO, as you mentioned at the top, Changpeng Zhao, pleading guilty and stepping down on account of these charges, and will also pay a $50 million fine. There is more still on the legal fight for Binance to fight, but for right now, authorities charging Binance again with a $4.4 billion fine for violating U.S. anti-money laundering laws and sanctions. Back to you.
Yeah, so the money laundering, again, that all that stuff lands on Binance itself, and you know, CZ is getting fined the $50 million or whatever. I mean, it's still a lot of money, but I think I'll look up his net worth in a second, but I'm pretty sure he made like $60 billion or something crazy. It was a lot of money. He made a lot of money with Binance, so it is what it is. But I really do think that, I hate to say it, but I think that there's a hidden agenda here. And I think Austin hit it nail on the head with BlackRock kind of taking down Binance. And there is a reason for it, and we'll get into it in just a second. But let's listen to these. These are the DOJ meetings right here. I got like 3 clips from Bloomberg. Hit that like button, guys. Let's get into it.
We're here today to announce the Treasury Department's historic action, the largest enforcement action in Treasury's history against Binance, the world's largest virtual currency exchange, for its consistent and egregious violations of U.S. anti-money laundering and sanctions law.
Let's get more from Bloomberg's Sue Keenan, and really a conclusion to a year's end, a long negotiation.
Yeah, this is enormous on the enforcement front. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, who was there, as you saw in that press conference, said using new technology to break the law does not make you a disruptor. It makes you a criminal. And the size and scope of this cannot be underestimated. As mentioned, both Binance and its CEO, widely known as CZ, pled guilty to criminal charges for anti-money laundering and U.S. sanctions violations, which include allowing transactions, the Treasury says, with Hamas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and other terrorist groups. CZ appeared in a Seattle courtroom and agreed to step down as part of the sweeping deal to end the years-long Justice Department criminal probe against Binance. As mentioned, it is the world's largest crypto exchange. Richard Teng, who is a Singaporean with...
All right, so real quick, just stressing the fact that it is the largest crypto exchange, right? Now, what do you guys think? So this kind of comes down to the hidden agenda part, right? What do you honestly think is going on behind the scenes with Blackrock and everything, you know, all the people in the government? To be honest, I think they are preparing for the new bull run. They are 100% banking on, you know, everybody kind of getting into crypto and, you know, looking at crypto or, you know, being interested in it nonetheless. And the people that are smart are going to go to Binance or going to go to Coinbase or just other exchanges that the government doesn't control, right? What they want you to do is funnel into BlackRock because they can control BlackRock because BlackRock controls you. That's pretty much, you know, nail on the head. That's exactly what's happening, at least in my opinion. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments.
With a master's degree in finance from the University of Western Australia, is now succeeding him as CEO. He posted on X, or the platform formerly known as Twitter, that his immediate function will be to reassure Binance's 150 million users about the safety, security, and stability of the platform going forward. He will also be collaborating with regulators. CZ will pay a $50 million fine. The company, as mentioned, agreed to pay a $4.3 billion fine. That is a combination of both criminal fine and forfeiture of about $2.5 billion. Now, Richard Teng was the head of the regional markets outside the U.S. He now assumes responsibility in taking over for CZ for running the company. And again, important to point out that the Attorney General said this is Binance becoming the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, in part because of the crimes it
Yeah, I want to know what they did to him behind the scenes.
committed.
That's what I want to know.
Now he said it pays one of the largest corporate penalties in U.S. history.
That's freaking crazy. Like, just honestly, think about it. What do you think they did to him behind the scenes before they came to this whole settlement thing? Do you think they threatened him with like a longer jail sentence or whatnot to just kind of step down and walk away? There's something we're not getting. We're not getting all of it, and that's just a fact, at least in my opinion. All right, this is actually the DOJ, just a clip from Bloomberg. Shout out to them. Let's do it, guys. Hit that like button. Appreciate you.
We are here today to announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, and from its founder and CEO, Changpeng Zhao, also known as CZ. Separate from the criminal enforcement actions, the Justice Department is announcing today Secretary Yellen and Chairman Benham will also announce civil regulatory enforcement actions, and the Treasury Department and the CFTC are taking against Binance. While criminal and civil enforcement actions are subject to different legal standards, this collective effort represents the whole of government approach that we are taking to combat corporate crime. Binance has agreed to plead guilty to willfully violating the Bank Secrecy Act, knowingly failing to register as a money-transmitting business, and willfully violating the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. These laws ensure that our financial institutions are not available to designated terrorist organizations, drug traffickers, and sanctioned nation states that threaten public safety and our national security. The Justice Department is requiring Binance to pay $4.3 billion in penalties and forfeitures. This is one of the largest penalties we have ever obtained from a corporate defendant in a criminal matter. The Justice Department is also imposing a monitorship as well as reporting requirements on Binance as part of today's resolution. Moving forward, Binance must file the suspicious activity reports that were required by law. The company is required to review past transactions and report suspicious activity to federal authorities. This will advance our criminal investigations into malicious cyber activity and terrorism fundraising, including the use of cryptocurrency exchanges to support groups such as Hamas. While this historic plea is an important measure of accountability, we know that corporations only act through the individuals who run them. That is why we have also filed a felony charge against and secured a guilty plea from Changpeng Zhao for willfully violating the Bank Secrecy Act.
Again, that's why I say something happened behind the scenes. Like, they did something. They went to him and said, like, listen, it's either you're going to pay this or you're going to get raked over the coals. Like, we're going to completely destroy you. And it also comes down to one of those things, like, what's the best move for crypto as a whole? If CZ, right, if he's not a bad guy, he's actually a good guy here, and he does want to see crypto do well, was this the right thing to do? Just back off and walk away? I mean, you got to think about that too. You know, it's kind of you're between a rock and a hard place when you're fighting with these people. It's either they're gonna kill you or they're gonna, you know, just take everything from you, and you're gonna be suffering.
As CEO of Binance, Zhao willfully violated federal law that requires financial institutions to guard against money laundering and terrorist financing. Zhao, who resides...
And kill you was a figure of speech. Sorry, had to clear that up.
...resides outside of the United States, entered his plea in person in the United States District Court for the Western District of Washington earlier today.
Crazy. And someone said in the chat, I think it was Sustainable Crypto, said this just gives Binance, let me see, just delaying Binance to let Coinbase catch up for 3 years. And you know what? I kind of agree with that, because Coinbase is kind of the golden child. Just saying. They've been, like, you know, on the right path with I guess the regulators, right? Just like the government in general. They've always been asking questions, trying to do things right. You know, that's pretty much how it is. Golden child status. All right, let's continue over here again. Another clip from the DOJ.
But from the very beginning, Zhao and other Binance executives engaged in a deliberate and calculated effort to profit from the U.S. market without implementing the controls that are required by U.S. law. Zhao and Binance attracted and built a substantial U.S. customer base. Almost 2 years after Binance's founding, Zhao told senior management that the U.S. market represented 20 to 30% of the company's potential revenue. Serving these U.S. customers meant that Binance was a U.S. financial institution. U.S. financial institutions must comply with U.S. law. Zhao and other senior management at Binance understood this. They understood that the company was required by U.S. law to register with the Treasury Department as a money services business. And they understood that they were required by U.S. law to implement an effective anti-money laundering program. They failed to do either. Instead, they concluded that complying with U.S. law would stifle their efforts to grow Binance's profits, market share, and trading volume. So, rather than comply, Binance facilitated billions of dollars of unregulated cryptocurrency transactions. It willfully enabled hundreds of millions of dollars in transactions between American users and users subject to U.S. sanctions. And its platform accommodated criminals across the world who use Binance to move their stolen funds and other criminal proceeds.
Again, that happens with any exchange. It wouldn't just be Binance as a whole. All right, let's check this out. U.S. unseals criminal charges against Binance. Let's see what CNBC television has to say about this. Smash the like button, guys. 32 likes, 124 you see here. Unless you're driving, I totally understand.
There's a major enforcement action, by the way, today in the cryptocurrency space. I want to go to Eamon Javers right now in Washington with the very latest. Eamon.
Scott, that's right. Take a live look now here at the Department of Justice, where you see the Attorney General Merrick Garland is now standing next to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. The picture you are seeing here is unprecedented. We have not seen this Attorney General and this Secretary of the Treasury do a joint press conference before today. And the reason is because of the scale of the alleged criminality that they are announcing here in this deal with Binance. Binance, the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world, the DOJ says has pleaded guilty today and agreed to pay over $4 billion to resolve allegations related to violations of the Bank Secrecy Act, failure to register as a money transmitting business, and violations of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, those in relation to U.S. sanctions. They're also saying here that as an individual, Binance's founder and chief executive, Changpeng Zhao, a Canadian national, also pleaded guilty to failing to maintain an effective anti-money laundering program, violation of the Bank Secrecy Act, and he has now resigned as the CEO of Binance. A couple of other details here. Merrick Garland says that using new technology to break the law does not make you a disruptor, it makes you a criminal. We've also got some information here, Scott, from the Department of Treasury. This is the largest enforcement.
Real quick, by the way, Binance, like, this is just a drop in a bucket for Binance. So I don't think Binance is going to be going anywhere as a whole. It's just they just wanted to get rid of CZ because he was a public face of the company and everybody knew him. You know what I mean?
Action in the history of the Treasury Department. And you get a sense of why that is when you read the specifics of what the Treasury is laying out here in terms of alleged criminal activity that took place on Binance that Binance did not inform the U.S. government about over a period of years. They're saying that Binance never once filed a suspicious activity report with the U.S. Treasury. That's something that's pretty standard in the financial industry, not being done in the crypto space. They say as a result, terrorist financing took place on the Binance exchange, including for groups like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, and others. They're saying that ransomware was paid for on the Binance exchange. They're saying that child sexual abuse materials were paid for on the Binance exchange. Binance never reported
shit. That is such oh my god. I don't even, this is so stupid. I need to stop the cap button. That's what I need.
Transactions with websites devoted to selling child sexual abuse materials. They're also saying that all sorts of illegal activity, including drug purchases, were transferred on the exchange through.
I want to see proof. I want to see proof that they actually have like that stuff, and they're not just making this shit up. Because like those allegations, that's fucked up. It really is. That's really messed up.
Markets, scams, and other illicit activity. All of that is the reason why the Treasury Department is now imposing monitoring on Binance, which will get active reports inside the firm to understand what's going on in real time. Monitoring has never been done before in the cryptocurrency space. We have seen that in other criminal allegations in corporate America. This will be a first for the crypto space. And there also is an important detail here, Scott, which they're calling the SAR look back. SAR is, again, the suspicious activity report. The Treasury Department is going to get a look back at suspicious activity that took place historically on Binance. So they're going to get intelligence on all sorts of alleged criminal and terrorist transactions that took place on that exchange going back for years. It will be a treasure trove for U.S. investigators, U.S. intelligence, U.S. law enforcement, and the rest as they pour through all those transactions and try to make connections between all those various groups and follow the money going back years here, Scott. So a real historic announcement that we're witnessing from Merrick Garland and Janet Yellen right now.
Appreciate that very much.
That's dude, this is like, that's crazy. That's a lot of really bad allegations, but at the same time, it's like, this shit happens. It doesn't matter what kind of, cash you use or payment system you use. It's going to happen on PayPal. It's going to happen on Coinbase. It's going to happen on friggin' the banks down the street on your Visa card. Like, they make it sound so bad. They make it sound so bad just because it's crypto.
Eamon Javers live in Washington, D.C. for us. Also want to bring in Kate Rooney, who, as you know, follows the crypto space. Kate, I want you to talk to me about the broader fallout here, as well as the tremendous fall from grace for not only CZ, but just this space in general. Obviously coming on the heels of FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, and the trial that you covered just blocks from where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, Scott, this is enormous. CZ really was a global leader in this space. I do want to read you a statement. We just got a tweet or an X from CZ. Here he says he stepped down as CEO of Binance. Admittedly, it was not easy to let go emotionally, he says. It was the right thing to do. He says here, I made mistakes and I must take responsibility. It's best for the community, Binance, and myself. He says that Richard Teng, who is the global head of regional markets, he has been named officially as the new CEO of Binance today. He says
Richard
here he's a
Teng.
qualified leader, talks about his experience in financial services, and that he was the CEO of Financial Services Regulatory Authority in Abu Dhabi. So familiar with regulators here. He says,
Man, I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't want that position if I was that guy. That's just me.
as a shareholder and former CEO, I will remain available to the team to consult as needed, consistent with the framework set out in our U.S. agency resolutions. He says, what's next? He's going to take a break. He says he has not had a single day off, phone off break for the last 6.5 years. Long statement here, Scott. But he says at the end, funds are SAFU, which is basically funds are safe. But again, stunning fall from grace for CZ, the head of the largest crypto exchange, the founder, former head of Binance. But it comes after you had Sam Bankman-Fried being found guilty to 7 criminal counts. You had the Winklevoss twins. You had another crypto exchange, Kraken, getting sued by the SEC just yesterday. So
and they're getting sued again.
This is the latest salvo by major U.S. regulators going after this industry. I will say the reaction I'm getting from investors, those in the crypto space, is actually pretty optimistic. They're saying this was the last shoe to drop. This was the big uncertainty hanging over these markets, and that if it can survive something like this happening, CZ getting taken out as the CEO of this company, that there's a lot of optimism that maybe this is now priced in. They know what the price tag is in terms of the resolution, the plea deal here. Binance is not shutting down. It now makes up about 30% of global volume. It was 80% at one point. But that worst case scenario of Binance needing to shut down is not happening. So there's a little bit of optimism here, despite this being objectively negative news. So interesting take there from some market participants, Scott.
Yeah, appreciate that very much. Kate Rooney, thank you. Kate Rooney, Eamon Javers, both reporting on this development out of Washington.
Crazy. Shout out to CNBC for that. All right, we got a couple more we're going to get into. We have, again, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong comes up to speak on it, and so does, I guess, the former Binance executive, Patrick Hillman. So that's the guy they just said was taking over, if I'm not mistaken. Real quick, Jim C. in the chat said, the U.S. dollar is the #1 currency used of illicit activities. I believe all crypto is less than 0.05% or thereabouts. And that's you're probably not wrong. I guarantee you're not wrong. It's U.S. dollar is used for most illicit activities for sure. Guys, that like button, appreciate you. Let's get back into it.
All right, let's bring in somebody who knows this company very well. Patrick Hillman is the former chief strategy officer for Binance and was arguably CZ's right-hand man. Patrick, thanks for joining us on Last Call. What's your take on what happened today?
Is this the guy that's taking over? Is that what they just said? Is that the name they just said? Let me know.
Look, I think this is a very bittersweet moment, both for the company, for CZ, and the industry. I know Kate just talked about it, but over the last year, the company has been, derided, and it has been accused of FTX-like crimes, market manipulation, stealing user funds, fraud. And, today the government laid out its case, which was a good one, by the way. And none of those really, combative accusations or allegations are in there, as they shouldn't be. Now, the reality is Binance made some serious mistakes in the early days. They did not have KYC. They should have. And for that reason, today's settlement is fair and the outcome is fair. And so I think for the most part, the industry sees this as an opportunity now to continue to move forward and grow.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's Richard Teng. It's not this guy.
And it's going to be the same opportunity for Binance as a company as well.
Reuters says that they broke a number of U.S. antitrust money laundering laws, as well as failed to report as many as 100,000 suspicious transactions that occurred on that platform. Patrick, you were there. How hard is it for any company to, in crypto particularly, to identify what may be an illegal or dangerous or disgusting, whatever the transaction may be? Is it that difficult to identify the end use of some of these transactions?
Perfect question.
Once you have KYC, it's actually very easy in crypto to identify it. You see, The crypto exchanges themselves, just like banks, they're not investigators, right? They're not in global intelligence. They're not law enforcement. They rely on intelligence and law enforcement to tell them this account is tied to a sex offender. It's tied to a potential terrorist. And then once the law enforcement agency goes to the agency and goes to the exchange and tells them this account is compromised, because of blockchain, an exchange can not only lock down that wallet immediately, but they're able to look across the network of every transaction that wallet has engaged in and map out complex potential networks of criminality, which is something that is not afforded to law enforcement or the intelligence community in traditional finance, which frankly is a narrative that has really been lost. And so crypto is probably one of the greatest technological advances that has ever happened to the law enforcement field.
Yeah. No KYC, for those not in the know your customer, things like name, legal, birth date, social security number, et cetera, I guess, to identify if my account for Binance wired 100,000 in crypto to somebody in Iran with, unknown end purposes. But Patrick, what would you say to people sitting here watching CNBC right now that have been maybe poking around crypto or thinking about poking around crypto, and they see, Sam Bankman-Fried, they see a couple others before that, they see this now. How should they have any confidence in the industry?
Mr. Jonas, I think in the chat, if I said that correctly, he said, "Are Binance funds safe?" I would recommend that you self-custody your funds. That's just my opinion. Anything could happen, but as of right now, I don't think Binance is going anywhere. I think CZ stepped down so Binance could flourish. That's just my opinion.
Look, Sam Bankman-Fried is not an issue in crypto. That was just good old-fashioned fraud in the words of the actual prosecutor. So I think we have to put that aside, as hard as I know that is to do. I think today, though, looking at the reality of the allegation against Binance, and by the way, I assume that there are going to be other exchanges that will have similar allegations brought against them. When these companies launched, very few of them had KYC from the start. They did not see themselves as a global financial institution. They saw themselves as a startup that was basically selling these little tokens on a website. That's not the reality. And the government has been very clear in that now. And so this is just the first step, and what I think will be more to hold those exchanges accountable. But the reality is it's a very different industry today, and the industry will continue to grow.
Yeah, some people in the chat are saying he sacrificed for us and the bull run. And I agree, to be honest. I think that I really do think CZ kind of took one for the team, fell on the sword, kind of a sort of speech. I think Austin actually says that as well, and Altcoin Daily, we'll be watching that in a minute. But yeah, I think he took one for the team just so Binance could flourish and, crypto as a whole will continue. Because if he just sat there and fought this, there's no chance of winning with these guys. There really isn't. Like, it's about, who you know, not what you know in this situation, unfortunately, but is what it is. All right, let's get back into this. So this is where we're going to hear about, or we're going to hear from Brian Armstrong over at Coinbase. Guys, hit that like button. Appreciate you all.
Major news in the crypto world. The CEO of Binance, CZ, agreeing to plead guilty to federal charges and step down from the company. Binance agreeing to pay more than $4 billion to settle money laundering charges. Our Kate Rooney joins us now with Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong. Kate?
Hi, John. Thanks for that. So, Brian, thank you for being here. We really appreciate your time today. I want to start with the significance of what John just mentioned, Binance and CZ pleading guilty. What is the impact on your company, Coinbase, and the industry here?
Yeah, well, for us at Coinbase, this is really a vindication of the long-term strategy that we've taken to focus on compliance, make sure we were building a trusted company. And I have to tell you, over the last 10 years since we've been doing that, it has been frustrating at times. We've seen competitors come on the scenes and not take that approach. Sometimes they're able to offer products that we didn't think was legal. And in this environment, we're seeing that regulators are finally acting and they're creating that level playing field. So I think this is vindicating of our strategy, and I think it's good for the industry too to sort of turn the page, make sure that we're following the laws where it's clear today around AML and KYC. And then also make sure that we're getting clarity about the areas of the law where it's not yet clear in terms of commodities, securities, and there's new legislation on the horizon that I think Congress can help with there.
All right, real quick, for anybody that's like just new, right? So Coinbase, again, is kind of like the golden child. I love Coinbase. Personally, I use them. But you got to think on the other side of things, right? Again, being the golden child, they also help the U.S. government sell their crypto. So You really think they're going to get rid of Coinbase over Binance? Like, come on. You know what I mean?
And so the DOJ just held this press conference. They talked about some of the awful, really, use cases for crypto. They talked about terrorist financing, transactions that facilitate child sexual abuse. How is the industry going to move on?
Why do they keep saying that? Why do they keep saying the child sexual abuse? Where did that come from? Like, where? Where did that come? That's like, that has to be new. In the last couple days, I've never heard that before until right now. Like 5 times this morning.
The dark side of crypto, some of the nefarious use cases at a time when this industry is also gaining legitimacy on Wall Street. There's a lot of hope for an ETF. How is the industry going to move on to become more legitimate, especially in light of what happened today?
Yeah, well, centralized services in cryptocurrency, just like custodians and exchanges, I mean, they need to be following the exact same rules that exist in traditional financial services to be looking out for that type of criminal behavior. And one thing I think a lot of people don't realize is that if you look at the best third-party data out there, less than 1% of activity in crypto is for illicit purposes like those that you just described.
See, this is why I like Brian Armstrong. This is why I like him, because he's factual. He just brought that up. It's less than 1% of crypto being used for illicit activities. That is a fact, and that is amazing. So I'm glad he just cleared that up, because yeah, that needed to be cleared up.
By the way, the US dollar cash is about 4% used for illicit activity. So,
so he's like the most hated golden child by the US government.
Crypto is certainly not unique in that a small percentage of bad actors try to use it. That's why we at Coinbase, for instance, have really strong transaction monitoring programs, and we've invested a lot in these programs around KYC and AML. But the centralized actors need to follow those rules. I think we saw that Binance in this case was not maybe following those rules as well as they should have. But the decentralized aspects of crypto are probably going to be regulated differently. They're protocols, they're self-custodial wallets. And so the industry needs to figure out how it can apply those rules with regulatory clarity, not just in the US, but these offshore unregulated exchanges as well. And then we also need to make sure we preserve the innovation potential in the decentralized aspects of crypto to balance that.
So how do regulators prevent some of this from happening again in the future? It sounds a lot like just banking regulation, things like KYC and AML that you think of really applying to some of the more traditional financial institutions. The industry has pushed back on that and said we want different regulation. Is that possible at a time when Congress might have some different priorities, especially with an election coming up next year?
Yeah, well, I think some areas of the law are already quite clear around OFAC and KYC and AML, like we saw. And I don't think the industry has been pushing that against that. In fact, quite the opposite. The companies that I engage with and in the U.S. that are based here are all leaning into that. We've been doing that for many, many years. Now, there are areas of the law today that are still not clear in crypto. For instance, which of these assets are commodities and securities. And that's where we've seen some of this draft legislation going through Congress. In the absence of that regulatory clarity, we're also availing ourselves of the court to go get case law created that can create that clarity as well. So, look, the first and best choice would be to have regulators come together and publish clear guidance. We haven't had that happen yet, so we're unfortunately having to rely on the courts and now Congress to pass some of that. Congress does have many priorities, as you put it, but I know that, for instance, Patrick McHenry and those have made this crypto legislation a priority. And you never know exactly how and when things may become law in the United States, but we're going to keep trying that, and I feel confident that the U.S. is going to get it right eventually.
And so, Brian, Coinbase has not been immune from its own legal troubles. Can you give us any sort of update on the legal battle with the SEC? The SEC has sued Coinbase for what it says is an unregistered broker. Does any of the action today impact the way you think about your own legal battle with U.S. regulators?
Yeah, well, obviously it's important for people to remember that these two things are apples and oranges. Ours is a civil case over some technical issues about what is a commodity and security. And as I mentioned, we're availing ourselves of the court here to go create that regulatory clarity for the industry. And so almost regardless of the outcome, at least we'll finally start to have some clarity from the court. The Binance case here was a criminal matter, obviously, with much different facts and circumstances and a huge dollar amount that is quite a bit different. But look, I think the important thing for people to remember here is that 52 million Americans have used crypto now, 400 million people globally, roughly. This technology is not going anywhere. More Americans have used, like 5 times as many Americans have used this technology as have an electric vehicle, for instance. And so we have a real opportunity with this technology to update the financial system, make it faster, less expensive for people, more efficient, more fair, more global. And that's going to bring an incredible amount of positive aspects to the global economy and to people all over the world. So although it's the early days, and unfortunately that lack of clarity, we saw some bad actors, try to take advantage of the situation. This industry remains very strong, and it's just going to get better over time as we see things like layer 2 solutions, adding scalability into crypto. We see ETF applications out there to launch. So I'm very optimistic on next year. Now that we've turned the page here on some of these regulatory issues, we can get back to building.
Crazy. Shout out to Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong for coming on and actually speaking about it and clearing that bullshit up about the child trafficking BS. All right, let's get into Crypto World CNBC, and then we're just gonna listen to the beginning of this, just the brief news. I guess CoinDesk was also purchased from some guy, I forget his name to be honest, but then we're gonna get into Mr. Altcoin Daily. As you guys can see, I got the kid down here, so I'm gonna be muting a little bit, but let's do it. Hit that like button, guys. Appreciate you for hanging out.
Today, U.S. law enforcement reaches a settlement with Binance, the SEC sues Kraken for allegedly running an unregistered securities exchange, and Kevin Worth, the CEO of CoinDesk, breaks down what to expect from the crypto media company following its acquisition.
Which is also horseshit about the whole Kraken thing, just saying.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Talia Kaplan. Major digital currencies pretty much flat this morning, with Bitcoin and Ether both trading less than 1% lower as of noon Eastern. Now, shortly after noon, Binance's BNB token started tumbling. It's down more than 7% as of 1:30 p.m. Eastern, thanks to some major news for the exchange out of the US. Okay, we have two stories to get to, and we'll start with that Binance news. U.S. law enforcement is gearing up to announce a settlement with the world's largest crypto exchange. Reuters reports that at 3 p.m. Eastern today, multiple agencies, including the DOJ, U.S. Treasury Department, and CFTC, will announce an agreement with Binance over alleged money laundering, sanctions violations, and more. Now, of course, this show publishes at 3 p.m. Eastern, so we'll have much more to bring you tomorrow, but here's what we know so far. Earlier today, a filing in federal court charged Binance with running an unlicensed money transmitting business, conspiracy, and violating the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, among other things. Bloomberg reported Monday that Binance and prosecutors have worked to strike a deal that would balance enforcing the law and allowing Binance to continue to operate. Binance has reportedly pushed for a deferred prosecution agreement, which would mean charges get filed but aren't prosecuted so long as Binance meets predetermined requirements like paying a fine and submitting to compliance monitoring. We also learned in today's filings that CEO Xingpeng Zhao will plead guilty in federal court to violating and causing a financial institution to violate the Bank Secrecy Act, and that he'll step down from his role as CEO.
The Bank Secrecy Act.
The goal of this deal is to likely avoid the collapse of a crypto exchange that handled $12 billion in trading volume in the past 24 hours alone, according to CoinMarketCap. Binance faced pressure from the SEC for months after the agency sued the crypto company back in June. Now, we'll bring you much more on the settlement with the DOJ in tomorrow's show. And speaking of the SEC, we also need to talk about the lawsuit the agency just filed against Kraken. On Monday, the regulator accused Kraken of operating an unregistered securities exchange. It also claimed that Kraken commingled customer and corporate funds. The SEC says an independent auditor identified the alleged mixing of funds as a significant risk of loss for customers. In the court filing, the SEC also alleged that at times Kraken used bank accounts holding customer funds to pay operational expenses. Now, in a statement to us, a Kraken spokesperson said, "We disagree with the SEC's complaint against Kraken, stand firm in our view that we do not list securities, and plan to vigorously defend our position." Kraken also said there's no clear path to registration, and that for years it has advocated for effective U.S. market regulation that addresses crypto's unique risks. Now, of course, this latest lawsuit from the SEC follows a bunch of enforcement action against crypto companies this year, including Kraken itself, which settled with the agency back in February over staking. Kraken agreed to pay $30 million and shut down its staking as a service program in the U.S. All right, let's follow up on some news we told you about yesterday for our main story.
All right, we're actually not going to listen to that. There's actually no point. I just want to stick to the whole Binance and Kraken BS. So this is, oh, hit that like button, guys. Appreciate you. I got to hit it on all these. And I got all the full links in the description below if you guys are interested. Let's get into this. So Altcoin Daily made a great video. He said, wow, did BlackRock take down Binance? And to be honest, he kind of opened my eyes to a lot of it. and it makes total sense. So I think you guys should definitely listen to this. If you haven't already, guys, that like button, appreciate you all. Let's do it.
Wow. BlackRock just took down Binance. This is big. Breaking news, and this is shaking the cryptocurrency industry to its core. A lot of people like CZ, think he's done a lot of good for the crypto community. A lot of people dislike CZ, think he hasn't done great for the cryptocurrency community. The news is that CZ himself, Changpeng Zhao, has just resigned as the Binance CEO. CZ will plead guilty to violating anti-money laundering requirements, according to the Wall Street Journal. He's scheduled to appear in a federal court in Seattle Tuesday afternoon, where he will enter his plea. It's interesting to note that the SEC complaint against Binance originally was full of allegations of commingling, echoing what really happened with FTX, and yet these are absent from the DOJ complaints, which we're reporting on today, which does not include fraud-related charges. And the SEC did not sign on to the joint settlement agreement either. Interesting. I think something fishy is going on here. Wow, did BlackRock just take down Binance? And it seems CZ almost warned us about all of this 3 days early. In the guise of a Sam Altman ChatGPT OpenAI tweet, CZ said this: investors and founders don't always align. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. To be fair, no two persons can always be 100% aligned. I'm both a founder and an investor. Knowing when to let go of a company that you founded is one of the trickiest decisions. CZ's last tweet from 3 days ago was a sign. So CZ and Binance owe the US government some money. Binance, the exchange, is settling for $4.3 billion, and CZ, Changpeng Zhao himself, has agreed to pay a $50 million fine. If you know somebody who uses Binance, you might want to send this video to them. Important to note, though, that this is not an FTX situation, with Binance doing proof of reserves, and CZ is one of the richest crypto billionaires in the world. Hey, I guess we can add another chapter to this story.
Yeah, it's very true. He's one of the richest crypto billionaires.
Hey, this is the richest guy in the world from crypto, and you don't even know him.
Hi, my name is CZ.
He made over $60 billion, but his mom still called him stupid. Let me tell you his incredible story.
And back to the news of the day, Binance founder Changpeng Zhao agreed to step down and plead guilty to violating criminal U.S. anti-money laundering charges, according to the Wall Street Journal.
So let me give you my take. I think this is what you really need to understand. My take is that CZ fell hard on the sword so cryptocurrency in the United States could flourish. I mean, whatever you think of CZ Binance, John E. Deaton, crypto lawyer, writes, he had no real choice. Being able to keep his majority stake in Binance, plead out to a money laundering charge, and likely just get 2 to 5 years of probation, there's not a criminal defense attorney alive that's going to say, nah, you should just roll the dice. So the SEC sues more exchanges, CZ resigns as the CEO of Binance, blah, 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 blah. They're clearing the way for the next Bitcoin bull market. I don't agree with everything the SEC has ever done. However, it's clear that they're aware of what is going on. And you know what? People like Larry Fink at BlackRock want to be the ones selling to you at the beginning of this next cycle. To sum it up, the bull market is about to start and without question will be the most insane one that will probably ever happen in crypto. Because who takes the number one spot from Binance if this plays out like Arthur Hayes and BitMEX, for instance? Nobody wants to hold the number one spot after all this. Nobody except one man. So it seems like Larry Fink and BlackRock really did take down Binance. And this was always something those in the know were wondering what was going to happen. Travis Kling, back June 16th, 2023. Lots of chatter on this BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, and rightfully so. BlackRock more or less is the US government. They've also received approval on 575 out of 576 of their ETF applications. One thing I'll say, there is no chance, and I mean zero, that this ETF gets approved with Binance in its current position of market dominance. If this ETF is approved, Binance is either gone entirely or their role in price discovery is massively diminished. If Binance holds on to its current level of influence, no chance this ETF is approved. And we just witnessed all of this play out. With Binance.
Hold on, does he really have a tattoo of Binance on his arm like that? Is that real? Is that fake or is that real? Is that legit? That's hysterical.
With Binance leashed, the SEC can now finally accept the Bitcoin BlackRock spot ETF. And it is BlackRock and BlackRock's associates, like Coinbase, who will be the biggest winners. I expect to see BlackRock and Vanguard buy more. By the way, 90% of Gary Gensler's $120 million fortune is with Vanguard. See how this works yet? Did you all think that they were just going to bring in the biggest clients to Bitcoin, kick off a massive bull run, and then just let Binance and Kraken make a killing off the subsequent US retail interest in crypto? Negative. The top 10 owners of Coinbase Global, Vanguard, ARK, BlackRock, Coinbase benefits with Binance getting kicked to the curb. The Bitcoin crypto bull run benefits from all this. Binance de-risking is one of the biggest catalysts we could have in crypto right now. Crypto is a real industry post a $4 billion settlement. CZ takes a long-needed Miami vacation a la Arthur and BitMEX. Market rips higher. ETFs approved in January. Maybe a GOP wins the 2024 election. Crypto laws are passed. Guys, interact with this video, get this information out there, share this video with everybody you know, especially if they're using Binance, especially if they need to understand what's to come in this coming crypto bull market. And for the record, it's my opinion, I've always liked CZ. What CZ built is unquestionably, I mean, this guy has brought more people to Bitcoin and crypto than almost anybody on the planet. We had a chance to interview CZ in a live stream back in 2020, and
shout out to Mr. Financial Failure for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. You're awesome. Thank you so much for the emoji. I think I don't even know what he's doing, actually. I can't see it.
You know, we really got to get a sense of who he is. CZ Binance. I'm not against governments.
I'm not like anarchist. I'm not against governments. I'm not against anybody. I'm a very freedom-driven type of person. So I think people should be given a very high degree of freedom. And we should only be punished for things that are really bad. So, for example, if you scam somebody, if you hurt somebody, if you take somebody's property without permission. So those type of things, yes, we should be protected against. But by and large, we should give people a large degree of freedom to exercise their own thinking and choices.
So let me just keep things 100 with you. I have never been more sure of the upcoming Bitcoin bull cycle, crypto bull market fueled by ETFs than I have right now. And to be honest with you, about 6 months ago, I wasn't as bullish as I thought I had been before other supposed bull cycles. Just like 6 months ago, I was like, are things lining up enough to get a good crypto bull cycle? I wasn't sure. Cut to today with everything that's happened, I'm damn sure of it. Particularly because the mainstream media is flooding crypto hard on this news. They're not doing the retail investor any favors. Just listen to the way that Bloomberg handles this story.
And for more...
He's extremely right there, by the way. They are flooding this entire thing in a really bad light.
We're joined by Bloomberg's Hannah Miller. When you look at this guilty plea coming from the head of the world's largest crypto exchange, weeks after the Sam Bankman-Fried trial ended, how much of a cloud is there over the industry still?
It's yet another stunning blow to the crypto industry. CZ is the biggest name in crypto right now. Binance is the largest crypto exchange by trading volume in the world. So this is a major hit for an industry that's just been beset by scandals and scams.
Yeah, absolutely. And
guys, subscribe to the channel.
Absolutely insane. Shout out to Mr. Altcoin Daily. My kid is screaming right behind me. I apologize. All right, let's see what you guys have in the chat. We're going to see. Hold on, I'm going to mute for a second. Gotta tell him to quiet down if he listens. Man, he's like, my son's just off the rails right now. He's watching kids YouTube, having way too much fun. Anyways, I don't know. What do you guys think about this whole Binance thing? I actually asked a poll in the chat. I said, do any of you have funds on Binance? 20% of you said yes. 80% of you said no. So I would suggest the 20% that do have funds on Binance, just be cautious. Binance shouldn't be going anywhere, but that doesn't mean you should leave money on exchanges. That's my opinion, unless you're using it to actively trade, right? That's just common practice, right? Best way to do it. Financial failure again. Thank you so much for the super chat. And what do you guys think about this? I wanted to show you guys. I just printed this. This is the Kaspa color KS0 holder. What do you guys think? I found some PLA that's kind of color of Kaspa, right? Looks pretty cool. I think it'll look cool against the black. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about that. I think it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna print one more. The plastic kind of printed a little funky on the side, so I want to make sure it was my printer and not the plastic. I need 2 of those. I know I need to print like 10 of them for myself. But yeah, as soon as I get them available, I'll put them in the store and we'll go from there. But all right, guys, I gotta get out of here. These kids are killing me. Hopefully you guys have a good day. Just stay vigilant. Make sure you guys keep your crypto in your own custody, and be careful with these other exchanges. Like, I don't want to call it anybody specifically, but I'm going to Trade Ogre, which has been very kind of sketchy towards Kaspa. Just, I wouldn't leave too many funds on random exchanges because things are gonna crack down sooner than later. I apologize. All right, guys, have a good one. I'll catch you soon. Peace out, and happy Turkey Day if I don't see you tomorrow, but I probably will. So we'll see you guys then. Peace.